Thanks for joining me today for episode 87 of Think Big with Michael Zellner. All positive, no politics. My guest today is Trey Draper. Trey is a former basketball player at the University of Memphis, where he received his BS in Sports and Fitness Administration Management in just 3 years. He was a graduate assistant at UT Chattanooga during the 2014-2015 basketball season. Trey was the head basketball coach of junior varsity and assistant basketball coach of varsity at Mitchell High School from 2015 to 2018. And then he was an assistant men's basketball coach at IMG Academy from 2018 to 2021. He is also one of the offseason trainers for NBA All-Star Memphis Grizzlies point guard Ja Morant. And Trey just recently joined ESPN's broadcast team to call some college basketball games this year for 22-23 season. Trey, welcome to the show.
Appreciate you, Mike. Thanks for having me, brother. I appreciate it. Shout out Greg.
Yeah, Greg Draper, absolutely. Great man. So Trey, tell us something interesting about yourself most people don't know.
I don't drink. I don't drink alcohol. I don't drink wine. I rarely drink sweets. As far as orange juice, cranberry, I'm more of a water guy. May do sweet tea here and there, but I don't. That's something a lot of people are just now starting. I don't drink champagne, so I think some people are just now starting to see that being at formal events and toast and wine glass. I'm good, and there's no specific reason why. I just don't. So I think that's something that a lot of people would be shocked by.
You graduated from Mitchell here in Memphis in 2010. Were there a few teachers or coaches who had a positive influence on you while you were there?
Yeah, man, for sure. Shout out Coach Johnson. May rest his soul. But Mr. Murphy, Mr. Webb, Coach Nate, Miss Barbara Haynes, my English teacher. One thing I can say about the Mitchell community, it is and has always been a family. And that was one of the reasons why, I think I got the job to go back and be able to work there at such a young age. It's because it was a family. But all of my teachers, all of them, some of them still message me on Facebook and reach out to me, text me. It's a big family. But Coach Johnson was the main reason that I went to Mitchell. He used to coach my dad, and my granddad are really good friends. He passed away the year we won the state championship. And, ironically enough, his son was playing for us that year. So it was like a full circle moment, man. But walking home, Mitchell High, they're forever a piece of them in my heart, forever.
It's what I call there's no coincidences that his son was playing for you at that time and that you guys won that. So yeah, just like you said,
it wasn't, man. It's actually a picture on my Facebook page where we wore ties that was dedicated to him doing that run, and we went 7-0 with them ties. Man.
Oh, that's great.
Had a real impact on us.
So February 2nd, 2010, I believe that was your final game for Mitchell playing at East High School. Memphis head coach Josh Pastner walks into the gym. You said, quote, "I always wanted to wear tiger blue, being around 3 generations of it. After the game, I sat down and talked to him, and he asked me if I could set up some time to meet with him. And the next day or so, he wanted to talk to me about my future, and he gave me the opportunity to walk on as a player at Memphis," unquote. That had to be such a really exciting time for you, Trey. Can you tell us a little bit about your time at Memphis and your relationship with former coach Josh Pastner?
Yeah, I remember that. I actually remember that call. I remember everything about that day. So Coach Cal had just left, and I was probably going to Memphis regardless if Coach Cal was there. So I had a good relationship with Coach Calipari, and he ended up leaving. So Coach Pastner took the job, and he had communication. He always said, he was like, I'm gonna come see you. I'm like, all right, I'm already best friends with Joe Jackson, really good friends with Tarek Black, Chris Crawford at this time. So all of us are still on that same AU team. Game in, and I see Coach Pat, game's ready to start. I see Coach Pat, he's there recruiting Nick King. I see Coach Pastner there, and it's like, oh wow. Long story short, I had a phenomenal game. We ended up losing, but individually I had a phenomenal game. After that, he came and sat down and talked to me. He said that, he just appreciated my leadership skills, and there's just some things that he felt like I could be an asset to his program. We met the next day. I was actually looking at other schools to go to and attend, and just trying to figure out, see if I wanted to, just it was just all type of things. But after that meeting with Coach Passion, it was done. So and we got Joe Jackson. He was already committed. From there, Tark Black, and I was very instrumental in the recruiting process from everybody from that day forward on through. I had a very good relationship. Man, University of Memphis they have a special place in my heart. I mean, it's just like Mitchell. It was a dream come true. And just still, when I'm at home, when I'm in the city, to walk around and people notice me or notice my family, and they just have nothing but good things to say. And for me, it lets me know that I did it the right way. I might have not scored 1,000 points. I might have not had, 1,000 rebounds or 700 steals, 700 assists, but I did it my way. I did it the way that I wanted to do it. And I wanted to build relationships. I knew that I wanted to get into the sports world. At that time, I didn't know if I wanted to be a coach. Being around Coach Stoudemire helped me. Coach Diamond Stoudemire helped me, learn, like, okay, I may want to go into coaching. But fast going back to Coach Johnson, he always told me that I would be a coach. And it's, it all played out, man. But University of Memphis has a special place in my heart. I think on this side I believe black and gold for Mitchell High, and on this side I believe blue and gray for the Tigers. I think it's gonna always be that way with me.
I had Coach Passner on a couple of weeks ago, and he's such a genuine guy. I mean, people always say, "Is that how he really is?" And and he really is that way. And he doesn't drink alcohol either. I mean, obviously that relationship had to be great.
Man, that's my guy. With Coach, I wouldn't be where I am today without the opportunity that Coach Passion granted me. Just the knowledge that was inevitable. The experience, the on-hand coaching experience, being on the scout team, able to do scout reports, able to work guys out while I'm still an athlete. Like that experience that I gained is quote unquote on the job training is what I call it. On the job experience was just not only because I was doing scout reports, watching film, breaking down film as a player, and a lot of coaches don't grant people those opportunities.
So you were really sort of an unofficial assistant too, weren't you?
Yeah, man. I was diving in there. I jumped in head first. I would watch film with Charles Camus was my roommate on the road one year. Then Chris Crawford became my roommate. Will Barton. Like I was always the first guy. I never was late. Coach Passon will tell you, in 4 years, I never was late. I was always the first one there. If I need to get shots up in the gym, I was always the last one to leave with the guys. I always just made sure that people was on time. I just had a natural leadership instinct that my mom and my dad instilled in me at an early age. And I think that was one of the reasons why I was, I've had a pretty successful career, even at the University of Memphis, was because of my parents. And, just having those leadership qualities transition to athletics, and from there it just kind of went with our team. I was actually voted team captain. It was my junior senior year. I was one of the captains on the team, and I was voted on by my peers. And as a guy that didn't play a lot, it was that wasn't heard, but it showed the respect. Now that I'm 30 and I look back 10 years ago, it's like these guys had real respect for me.
At Mitchell, you played both basketball and baseball. You served as team captain of the baseball team for 4 years. You were a member of Mitchell's National Honor Society leadership team and student council. Talk about those leadership skills that your parents, helped instill into you. What are some of the things that they taught you about being a leader and being a good role model?
Man, they just always taught me to, be myself. Don't follow the crowd, because sometimes following the crowd can lead you down the wrong path. As cliche as that sound, but they just always made sure that I did the right thing. That's the simplest way to put it. Whether the odds turn out in your favor or against you, if you do the right thing, you'll be all right. You can sleep at night. And that was one thing. I transitioned all the way into my life now. Like even with recruiting, and when I was at IMG, and we were hearing other things were happening in the recruiting process. That wasn't me. I just did it my way. And I felt like if I treat people right, I do it the right way. I treat everybody equally. I may not treat them the same, but I treat them equally. I can sleep at night, and having a good night's sleep for me is way more important than winning a basketball game or getting a recruit, coming out on top. Excuse me. That was for me. That was something that they instilled in me. I watched my mom. She does anything for everybody. That's one thing the quality that I took from her. She'll do whatever for whoever. No matter the time, no matter the day, no matter where. She'll do it. And with my dad, he's just a servant leader. It's never been about himself. It's always been about others. It's always been about seeing others happy, seeing others succeed. That was one thing that I took from him. And I think those are two qualities that are, now instilled in me, myself, and my sister. Those are some qualities that that I took from my parents.
After attending Memphis, you became a graduate assistant at UT Chattanooga under head basketball coach at the time, Will Wade. What did you learn as an assistant under Coach Wade that you still use today?
Everything. But number one, work ethic. The hardest working coach I've ever been around. I mean, the reason he had the success that he has now is because of the work he puts in. I mean, he's the hardest working coach I've ever been around, man. And just that opportunity that he gave me, I'm so grateful for. I actually spoke to Coach Wade yesterday. I emailed, and he'll be in Memphis soon in the next couple of months. I'm going to try to see if I can connect with him over the next couple of months, since we're all be in Memphis at the same time. But, man, I'm grateful for Coach Wade, for real. Like, I emailed, 1,000 coaches, and Coach Wade was one of the only ones to respond. I sent that to him the other day, and I still keep that email handy. I still keep his response handy, just for humble beginnings, because
Absolutely.
it wasn't always what people see now, the media, being around, working with certain guys and, being on ESPN now. Like, Coach Wade responded to me when nobody else did. And whatever they want to say about him, I don't even hear it. That man doesn't have a bad bone in his body. I mean, I love dude. Coach Wade he's that guy. He's that guy to me. He's that guy.
Yeah, I had him on recently with Greg Graber together, and then I had him on originally back in July the first time, and just like you said, genuine guy and everything. He'll be back in coaching again. There's no doubt about it.
Immediately, it won't be long at all. It won't be long at all, Coach. Man, Coach Wade is the best, and he's one of the best X and O minds. I can give you those, he's a GOAT. Coach Wade is one of the GOATs to me. I mean, and like I said, he responded to me when nobody else did. Nobody. Email, handwritten, and I remember I actually have the email in my phone, and
That's great.
I can say I can pull it up. This was literally the other day, man, and he emailed me. He emailed me back, and he said, Trey, we have a GA spot open. I'm looking for a player to be in that spot. My director of operation will call you. And and I still keep that handy. I still keep that handy just because it keeps me humble. It keeps me humble, man. It lets me know that, I can't do nothing but be better.
Looking at it from the outside, when I was talking to him recently, I said, Michigan State has one of the toughest schedules in the country this year. And I think they were playing Gonzaga and Kentucky and all these tough teams from the start. And I said, they're going to be lucky to win one of those games. And he was like, not Tom Izzo. And then you see they played Gonzaga down to the buzzer. And then the other night they beat, Kentucky in double overtime. So obviously he knows the game really, really well.
He knows everything. He's why his rise and his success was what it was for a reason.
You said, quote, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade, or whatever the old heads be saying, God's plan, unquote. What does that mean to you, Trey?
I mean, just being around and learning through my parents. So, you may go through something difficult, and at the end of the day, you can figure it out. So, hey, here's lemons. Got 10,000 lemons, so people they stop. But me, my family, we come from, we're going to squeeze them. We're going to make lemonade. We're going to make lemonade. We're going to give everybody something to drink. We're not just going to drink for ourselves. We're going to share. You know what I mean? So that's what I meant by that. And God's plan is simple, man. Like, you can have all the plans in the world. You can try to figure out your life, figure out who you're going to date, figure out who you gonna talk to, what school you gonna work at, what's your next endeavor in life. But God's plan. I mean, the song is, they had a song with Drake, God's plan, but
Yeah.
it's self-explanatory, man. You can try to figure it out all you want to, but if it's not in God's plan, it's not gonna work.
While you were coaching at Mitchell for those 3+ years, you also got your Master of Sport Administration, Sports and Fitness Administration Management from Mississippi Valley State University. Talk about time management skills. How were you able to balance coaching, school, and life too?
That was the lemonade. That was the lemons in the lemonade, man. I had to figure it out. I didn't have a choice. I was in a crucial stage in my life. I was 23. I had flunked out when Coach Wade left UT Chat. I didn't stay there. I flunked out, So when I got here, but I promised my mom that I would get my master's. She always wanted, get your master's. And Andre Turner gave me the opportunity to coach there. Mr. Meeks, they hired me at such a young age. I'm teaching. And I didn't realize at the time it was just work. But I knew that if I wanted to be set up in my 30s and my 40s, I would have to grind. Those 3 years was crucial. And I wanted the HBCU experience. And Mississippi Valley, presented me with that opportunity where I can do things online. It was only 2 hours up the road. I can drive, I can go back. And it just all worked out. Looking back, I don't know how the hell I did it. I can't even tell you, from teaching at 7, we had workouts, we got class, and I have practice, and I would drop kids off at home. I couldn't tell you how I did it, but I figured it out in support of my mom, my dad, my sister, my family. But with the support of them, anything was possible. I still feel that way.
Yeah, I was about to say, it goes back to obviously what your parents taught you at a young age. You were going to figure out a way to get it all done.
Figure out a way, and I mean, just the timing of all that, like just looking back at it and to know God's plan, to see how, right when I got my master's, I got a new job. I definitely could have got that master's while I was getting a new, it was just everything worked out I was supposed to.
As coach of Mitchell High School Tigers, you said, quote, "We had 27 seniors and 25 of them went to college for free and 2 of them went into the military. Saving everyone is impossible, but if I could just put my hands on those 27 and help them, maybe they can put their hands on another 27. Then we're starting to get somewhere," unquote. Love that. Tell us about, what those 27 seniors meant to you, Trey.
Pay it forward. Just pay it forward. And those 20, I still talk to each and every young man at Mitchell, from my Michael Rice, my kid Rice, Tevin Ollison, Dominique, who played for Coach Turner, Tyron, Jordan. I can name them all, because looking back at such a young age, and those guys let me coach them. I was 23. They 17, 18, 19 years old, and it's like they didn't have to respond so well, but we figured it out. We clashed heads a lot. But those guys hold a special place in my heart because before it was, popular or I want to train with Coach Draper. I want to train with Trey, it was those guys. And without them, I wouldn't have been successful at IMG. I know I wouldn't have, because the lessons that I learned with my freshman team, Mike, Mikael, Cam, Jawan, Tay, David, those lessons helped me be able to deal with the guys that I coached at IMG. And, and the challenges that they faced in life meant more, that meant more to me than winning games. Being able to help them succeed and knowing that they growing up in the inner city and just dealing with the challenges of being a young Black man trying to, go to high school. And, you got to get your sister ready for school. And you got to cook breakfast. You can't come to practice. You got to cook dinner. Those, being a role model to them helped me grow up fast, but it also helped me understand that it ain't just about me. I'm not just in it, because at first it was all about winning. I want to win. But dealing with them and getting text messages from them and calls still to this day, I get calls from Mike Rice and, He just called me the other day and just said, Coach, your favorite point guard. I just want to let you know I love you and I'm proud of you, man. I got a daughter now. Like, that means those kids, they hold a special play. They see me out, I make sure they good, text them on their birthday, send them gifts for their children. Like, just because I wouldn't be where I am without them. I mean, and I can go on and on about, those kids, because people talk about, IMG, but Mitchell High was really where it all started for me, and where it really gave me the real, like, I jumped in the fire. Like, I jumped in the fire in Mitchell High.
I have to say that probably you having really high expectations for those kids and holding them accountable had to have made a big impact on their lives where they are today.
Man, absolutely. And that was the thing I had to learn how to deal with, because, like, they aren't children. They were young adults, growing up. And they weren't little kids coming from middle school, and they were 14. And I don't know if you know anything about dealing with young men at the age of 14 and 18. That's a crucial period. They ain't the same kid when they go from 14 to 15 and from 15 to 17. It's like they know and they learn, man. And that's when life is hitting them. People are coming trying to get them to do whatever, wherever. And yeah, the standard's still the same. They know if I see them, they slacking, I'm on right then and there. Like, it ain't no right then and there. Like, what's up? Talk to me. Let's hear it, And they know they got an open line. They hit me 24/7. They call, I'm answering. They call, they need me, I'm coming. They know that.
That's wonderful, man. Quote, I could write a book on the journey we had. Man, I'm so proud of this dude. He believed in me at an age before I even knew what coaching was, and we made history. Forever grateful for my guy. Let's go. You were talking about the little general Andre Turner when he was hired, to be coach at Lane College back in April of 2021. I grew up as a kid watching him play. The Final Four team with him and Keith Lee in 1985 was amazing. And he and I talked about it on a podcast back in June. I said, still was the best starting five that year out of the team. We should have won it all that year and everything. And still the best starting five. Dana Kirk just got out coached by Raleigh Massimino in that Final Four game that went 52-45. He slowed the game down, but we still had the best team overall. If we played them 5 times, we win at least 3 of those teams.
That's what's beautiful about the NCAA tournament. Yeah, yep. For sure.
Tell us a little bit about the Andre Turner that Trey.
Grateful. That's the word that I get. Grateful. I was the first hire that he had at Mitchell High. And I was just going through the transition period of Wade leaving Chattanooga, and I'm not knowing if I'm going to VCU with him, if I'm staying at Chat, or what's going to happen. And Dre called me and was like, hey, man, hold on. He was like, what you guys? Like, I'm trying to figure it out. He said, give me a second. Give me the June 6th. He was like, I got something in the works. And I'm like, where are you got in the works? And he told me that day I drove home with all my stuff. I ran into Mitchell Principal at Houston's restaurant with my family. He gave me the heads up that he was probably about to hire Andre. So that kind of gave me the heads up of, interesting. I went to call Coach Turner, told him I saw Mr. Meeks. Dre said, yeah, that's what's in the work. He's like, if this happens, I want you. I said, I'm there. End of discussion. I'm there. I'm 22 years old. And I was when school started. When he got the job, I was 22. I turned 23 on June 6th. And then the rest was history. We went and won the state our first year. And like I said, Mitchell just taught me lessons, man. I can go, like, people don't know, but before I finally became a teacher, I worked the first 3 months at Mitchell for free.
Wow.
Just to be around the kids, just to build that relationship. Like, I didn't get paid a dime my first 3 months. I was up every day at 7:30, and in turn, they ended up leading to a part-time position, part-time to full-time, and then it was. I looking back, I couldn't tell you how I did it, but with the help of God and the help of my parents and my sister was here, like, I figured it out. And Coach Turner, like I said, grateful. He's been very instrumental, throughout my process. Just still to this day, we talk at least 4 times a week. About the lane. I drive up the lane when I'm in town. He still got 7 of our players from Mitchell. So, yeah, man, Coach Turner I call him Coach Turner or Dre now. You know what I'm saying? Because he, I get that with the public eye season, man. But Dre's one of my biggest mentors. I'm ready for the University of Memphis to retire jersey. Me get that jersey in the rafters.
Right. Absolutely. Once again, that no coincidence, you run into Principal Meese at Houston High School. I mean, be there at the exact same time, the exact same night. It was meant to be. That was supposed to happen the way it happened, for sure.
For sure. I mean, it happened. Like, I knew that's where I was supposed to be. Like, I knew it was where I was supposed to be. And I was able to get my master's. And Coach Trey let me coach. Like, he depended on me. He'll tell you. I mean, it was just, hey, what we doing for practice today? I'm like, I don't know. He's like, you mean to I remember he was like, you mean to tell me you've been there all day at the school? You ain't thought about no practice plan? I'm like, I got it. So when he get there, he sit down, he like, Trey, you got it. Let's go. Figure it out. You know what I'm saying? So those experiences and those lessons right there help prepare me for down the road.
I understand that you also recently just watched some old Keith Lee basketball tapes. You were pretty impressed, huh?
Oh my, that's all way before his time.
Yeah.
Way before his time. His hands, feet. I mean, he could left hook, right hook. I mean, he had it all. Shoot. I mean, he had it all.
And if he hadn't gotten those knee injuries, and he, started off as a freshman, he was pretty skinny. He gained a lot of muscle. And I know that they talk about how that probably hurt his knees a little bit, that extra weight he had on him. But if he hadn't had those knee injuries, I think he would have just been an amazing pro.
Absolutely.
It's 2018. You interviewed for a head coaching job in Memphis. It didn't happen for you at the time. You said, quote, as soon as God closed one door, he opened up another one, unquote. You were referring to when 2 weeks later, IMG Academy came calling for you. 92.9 ESPN radio, Jason Smith said, quote, man, big shout out to former Memphis Tigers guard Trey Draper, who after 3 seasons on staff at his alma mater, Mitchell High, is headed to perennial powerhouse IMG to join its coaching staff as an assistant. Draper going to rise quickly in the coaching game. Watch relationships, unquote. That last word that Jason said there, relationships, isn't building them a big part of what coaching is about?
Like anything. I'm on this call. You're on this call right now because of relationships. Like, we didn't know each other, but now we have open line of communication through great relationships. And I never talked about it. So you got real breaking news here. Fairleigh High School was the school that didn't hire me. They gave me the job and took it back.
Oh,
and
wow.
2 weeks later, I never mentioned the school ever, but yeah, Fairleigh. Shout out to Fairleigh, man. I'm grateful for y'all not hiring me.
Right, right.
It changed my life. 2 weeks later, IMG called. It was the wildest thing I've ever went through in my life. IMG called, and the rest is history. The rest is history.
Just about 8 months after you started coaching at IMG in April of 2019, you guys won the Geico National Championship. I mean, you were also that year, you were the recipient of the Memphis Flyer, top 20 under 30. What an exciting year that must have been for you.
Yeah, it was wild. That year, I think that was, how people say you just gotta, once you get in, you gotta kick the door down. That was the year for me. Like 2019, I felt like I felt like even at Mitchell, I was one of the best basketball minds in the country. But it was Mitchell. Love my high school to death, but small inner city black school in Memphis. IMG, I was on the national scale with best of the best. I'm the youngest. I'm 25 at the time. We winning, and shout out to my team. I come in and we recruit Jeremiah Robinson Earl, who plays in Memphis tonight. We get Springer. Noah Farrakhan is already there. Josh Green is there. Armando Baycott comes. We get Jerry. So it just, everything happened how it's supposed to. Once we got those guys, man, it was like, that was it. Then we go, I get nominated for 20 under 30, and I get that award, and then I win a national championship, and everything is just like, it was like, damn, like it felt like a relief, like everything that I've been working for, all the sacrifices of going to the University of Memphis, not playing, and dealing with, the burdens of like in my hometown, kind of dealing with embarrassment of not being able to play or, not getting on the floor. But, to see now, those tables have turned a little bit. And, like I'm on the national scale, first national championship ever at the IMG Academy. they can. It was just, and from there he kind of hit like you might could do this thing for real. Like you can make a name for yourself in this sports world.
Shea Sutton said of you, quote, "I'll tell you what, Trey Draper is a class act. I mean, he's full of character," unquote. You developed a special relationship with that young man and lifelong Tiger fan from Olive Branch back in 2013. Tell us a little bit about that.
Shea had a wreck, man, and it was on Instagram, and he was DMing me way before I saw it, and I just happened to go click his page. He's like, Trey, I'm a big fan of yours. I'm a big fan, and I never saw it. And this is how God works. I actually, once I saw it, I clicked, and I was like, wow, who's this? Clicked his page, and I said, oh, wow, he just had a wreck. And I saw it on the news, and I just started to do my research, and I popped up on him at the hospital, and popped up on him at his house. We still got a great relationship to this day, because I don't take stuff like that for granted. Like that people are, admire you. I don't even like to say the word fans. People just like you can make somebody's day. So when we still like close friends to this day. When I pulled up at his house and I saw him and he was like shocked. And it was just like I tell him, like, bro, we good. Like we here now. Tarek Black went with me. Like we kicked it with his mom and dad, went swimming, and it was just a great, it was genuine. It was genuine friendship, because I couldn't offer him anything at the time. He couldn't offer me anything at the time. We just was friends. And he just wanted, and he used to text me. I give him words of encouragement, and that's still my dog to this day.
Yeah, you never know what someone's going through and what someone needs and everything like that.
That's why I feel like you just be nice. Be nice, show everybody love. You're going to be all right, man. Spread love. Shout out to my dog, JT. That's his word, spread love.
You said, quote, "One of the biggest struggles that I dealt with is finding the self-confidence to know that I am really good at my job," unquote. How were you able to overcome that?
National championship, state championship, city championship with the freshman team. And it's like it's a fine line between having confidence and being cocky. But when you win, you just win, and everything around you wins. Like it's something like, oh shoot, I might can really be good at this, where I am really good at this, and I learned now not to let my confidence, somebody calls me cocky, they say, but that's just their insecurities, let those insecurities come off on me. I'm gonna be me, I'm gonna walk around and, you look at the things that I've done in my young career. Yeah, just turned 30 in June. So to see, a state championship, to win at the University of Memphis, to win 4 conferences, a freshman team won, and JV team won, and Mitchell won. I go to IMG and we win. And I guess, and I never would take credit for any of that. But,
Right.
I got to give myself some credit.
Absolutely.
Maybe I am good at what I do.
You said, quote, "Life is all about positive growth and finding value in experiences. IMG Academy has been that and more, being able to learn, grow, and finding value in experiences. IMG Academy has been that. And I'm excited for the next chapter. I'll never forget what those 3 years have meant to me. It's time for a new adventure." Unquote. You positively affected, so many lives there. What did that time there mean to you?
It was my first experience in corporate America. In dealing with, HR, having a boss, and having to do things this way, but you disagree. And I had to find a fine line in, standing on what I believe in, standing on my core values, but also being able to survive in a corporate environment. And IMG taught that, because it's not just a school, it's a business. It's one of the biggest business in the world, with Endeavor and WME. So it just taught me everything. It taught me everything about the business side of sports. And that's where I think that was what I was lacking, to be, to kind of, expand and, do what I do now. But IMG was the best. It was the best situation for me at the best time, to get that job when I got it, to be successful as we were, and put everybody that played for us went Division I. So we're not even talking that.
Right.
putting guys in the NBA and changing their lives, and they can now retire their mom. They can have financial wealth the rest of their life and financial freedom. That's what was, but that was different. Like, that was different to sit back at home and see Josh Green get drafted. Pick up the phone, call you. Yo, coach, I'm good. I just signed a $19 million contract. I'm only 18 years old. Like, and to know that I was an instrumental part in their growth and their success, but for them to tell you, and then to see it and sit back and watch them and see them in the NBA, like, shit, everybody got dreams, but to actually achieve them is a whole nother thing.
Yep. One of the things that you started while you were still at IMG during COVID, along with Coach Nefertiti and Coach Robinson, was the Gen X Coaching Alliance. You said, quote, "We call it Gen X because we're the next generation. If we can just reach back and we can touch one and then they can touch one, and that number starts to multiply," unquote. Tell us a little bit about Gen X and what the three of you guys are doing.
Gen X Coaching Alliance. So we still have calls to this day. We still have, we keep it so low profile now because it became a hot commodity. And neither one of us knew what we were getting ourselves into. We started doing COVID because we had the time, but now they actually still do the calls and jump on Zooms and give that wealth and that knowledge. So we have guest speakers come speak. I mean, we had Rashad Phillips, we had Coach AJ Blue at North Carolina, we had Ivy, Juwan Howard. Like, they come and they give real speeches on Zoom virtually to high school coaches across the country. It started just in Memphis, but now we have these guest speakers, and we do it, and we just do random cohorts, send out the email. We haven't even posted about it, but we'll probably start back posting and see where we can go with it. But we just want to just tighten that gap. We wanted to start it in Memphis, but build that network, and those relationships that we talked about earlier.
One of the things I said, as negative as COVID is, the positive thing that came out of it was the fact that people learned how much they could do over Zoom and how many people that they could reach.
Oh my God, I wish I'd have bought stock in Zoom.
Yeah, me too. You said, quote, "The wolf at the bottom of the hill is not as hungry as the wolf at the top. The wolf at the top of the hill is not as hungry as the one at the bottom of the hill. Keep working regardless of which wolf you may be. Them tables always turn," unquote. You have to keep working because that's how you continue to open up those doors of opportunity, don't you?
I've been the wolf at the bottom of the hill my whole life. I don't even think I'm the wolf, been the wolf at the top of the hill. Right. People look at me now and they may say, like, but yeah, I'm hungry. And my team is hungry. The guys that we're around, like, we keep each other, and we're not gonna never be, because we know that window closes. And you got to strike, like my grandmother used to say, you got to strike while that iron hot. And but if you are a wolf at the top of that hill, you got to keep working, keep going, keep going, because you got guys like myself and Mo Wells, who one of my close friends, and JT has never been that wolf. We want to see what it feel like up there.
Having no pun intended, the eye of the tiger, you said you're hungry, having that, desire. I mean, obviously eye of the tiger with Memphis Tigers, Mitchell Tigers, but, staying hungry.
Tiger.
It's what it's all about, having that desire to keep moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for real.
I love this so much. So I have to read for the audience. Quote, "Growing up in the heart of Memphis, I had choices to make, good or bad, just like these young children. But thankfully, I had some amazing parents and mentors along my journey, which helped me become the man I am today. You will never know how a simple conversation can change a child's life. The next generation needs us, and this story explains how. Memphis, let's be the change we want to see. Aspire to inspire before you expire. Much love, Trey Draper," unquote. You were referring to a story in a video that you were featured on Fox 13 Memphis called "Boys Begging for Male Role Models." I talked about this on another podcast I do along with former Memphis Police Association President Mike Williams and teacher and radio host Sherry Hopper, called "Let's Make a Better Memphis." We discussed, several times the importance of getting into our communities while these kids are young. So, because that'll make all the difference in the world to them for many of them, many of these kids just need to see that there's another way, and they need to know, they want to know that someone actually cares about them. What are your thoughts on that?
For me, I've been in that position. I had parents, I had aunties, I had cousins, and I had grandparents. Like, other people might not have that, and you never know how a conversation can change. You never know. And I've had young people tell me that, male or female, especially my time in Mitchell, that, man, coach, I just need to hear that. Well, I didn't know this. Man, I didn't know that was possible. Like, so you never know who's watching you. You never know how you can impact their life. So you just help. You know what I mean? Just help them. Just be a giver. And in return, God will give to you.
We talked about also, it's wonderful, all this upgrades that want to be done to the FedEx Forum, to, Simmons Liberty Stadium, the new soccer stadium, all the money they want to spend. But we talked about, they got to put money into the communities, got to build the community, centers and the poorer neighborhoods and stuff. So the kids see that there are other options.
Absolutely. Yeah. I agree with you 100%.
If they're not doing it both ways in the city. We talked about not getting political or everything, but just talking about, like, you want to do those great things. Wonderful. We're all for it, but spend the money where it needs to be. You need to build from the inside out. That's what needs to be done here. And that'll make such a difference for these kids, knowing that they have other options of things that they can do every day.
Absolutely. 1,000%. 1,000%.
Another door that opened up for you while you were at IMG, when you met a couple different people there. One was former LSU track and field star Mo Wells. You said of him, quote, "I could tell right away that I was going to like him. Energies attract," unquote. The other person you met was this young kid who played basketball at, college ball at Murray State, named Ja Morant. You were a part of the team who worked with Ja at IMG, and something very negative that happened during that time with COVID actually turned into something very positive for you. Mo Wells, UJ Johnson, and Jonathan Thomas. Tell us how House of Athlete got started, some of the players you guys have worked with, and what your future plans are for it.
Yeah, I don't like Mo no more, though. I was just playing. That's my brother. That's my guy, man. Yeah, that's God's plan, bro. I can't even put that into words. We met Ja, and we hit it off right then and there, and T and Uncle Phil and Mama Jamie, and the rest is history. We've been going to stay prayed up and just keep working. But we're not at House of Athlete anymore, so we've transitioned out of Collective in Austin, Texas, where now we've created a pre-draft offseason process with NBA and WNBA guys. Mo is very instrumental in NFL too. So he had guys like Justin Jefferson, Leonard Sr, Patrick Queen, Baker Mayfield, Odell Beckham, guys that do on the NFL side. But we wanted to create a safe space for the NBA athletes, where you just get one-stop shop. You can get the off-season training, you can get the meals, you can get the health, you can get the recovery, you can get the vitamins. Like, we want to just provide everything in one. And the Collective now allows that. So, from there, Ja kicked it off because people wanted to have the training that he has. So, we've had guys like pretty much anybody that comes through the IMG tree or the IMG circle has spent time with us. From Jeremiah Robson Earl, James Springer, and Wanda Baycott. But we've had guys like Greg Brown, Anthony Simons, Matt Monroe. We've had guys to come in and trust us with their offseason pre-draft process, and now it's starting to, take off and blossom to what we want it to be.
I love Baycott at North Carolina. Yeah. And he's a solid player. And, Anthony, you're talking about, he's doing some amazing things now in the NBA.
Oh my God. Yeah. Anthony is another IMG product, Anthony Simons. And the thing is, we're just a good team. Everybody provides different expertise, and we're all like brothers. That right there, the team's response to, on the court and on the field, and just being loyal and working our tails off, and starting to pay off.
I want to read a few of the great quotes of yours about Ja. You said, quote, "Some things are just divine. Some things are just meant to be. I just knew when that draft happened, I knew that he would change the culture in Memphis," unquote. After his first year, you said, quote, all men are created equal, but some work harder in the offseason. Year one, they heard you coming. Year two, make them feel you, unquote. And lastly, you said, and posted directly to him, quote, you got the city of Memphis on your back, giving the city hope in its darkest times. It's time to give you flowers, my dog, unquote. Tell us a little bit about, Ja, what it's like working with him and what effect that he's had on the city. It's so positive.
Him being drafted here was like real fresh air. I tell him all the time that I've been in Memphis my whole life. I'm from there. But to see somebody with your stature and it's just, you can't put it into words. And, the best way I can describe Ja is like, you have most people that be like, there go that wall, run through that wall. I meet you on the other side. Ja probably gonna run. He gonna run first. And then he gonna open the wall for you. You know what I'm saying? That's how he is. He'll give you the shirt off his back. And not just him, his family, man. His family, they're freaking amazing. All of them. They treat everybody the same. Open arms. They love on you. And the impact he had here is, you see it athletically. 20 ESPN games, the national televised game. People want to come to Memphis. They're redoing the FedEx Forum. Wow, now they build them parking garages, hotels. Like, yeah, that's cool, but we know what's up.
Right. Absolutely.
I've been there. I know why it's happening. People want to get in on this. Usher coming to town, Jalen Ramsey, Lil Boosie. You know what I mean? Brad, like, come on, man. And it's all because of Big 12.
Right. And you see, when you watch on television or you go to a game, everybody's clapping, cheering, getting along, people of all different ages and races and religions. No one's talking anything negative. No one's talking politics. No one's talking anything bad about the city. They're clapping, they're cheering, they're high-fiving, they're hugging. That's what it's all about.
That's what 12 do. He unites people of race, color, politicians. He's the best player in the world. And he's only getting better. He's only going to keep working, keep getting better.
Memphis had a string of not having good number 2 picks. Hasheem Thabeet was just, a bust. And then we ended up, everybody wanted Zion. And then it was the best thing. Not that Zion's not great, and hopefully he will be great, but the best thing that ever happened to us was dropping down to number 2.
Big 12. Jammer, you know how I feel about him.
Yeah, I do.
So that's the best thing. And I knew it. I was just sitting back like, you ever seen them? I told y'all. So now I can sit back and be like, I don't really have to say that. I don't have to say nothing. No, it's speaking for itself. I knew it was the perfect fit. The perfect fit.
Discipline, attention to detail, routine, killer mentality. Quote, welcome to the dark. The quote, the dark is where you face the critics, the doubters, and the haters throwing shots at you from the cheap seats throughout the journey. However, there are treasures, both tangible and intangible, for those with the courage to navigate the dark. They don't realize talent is more of a curse than a blessing unless you develop the mindset, grit, and work ethic of a grinder. When the lights become bright, it will only reveal your work that is being done in the dark, unquote. Trey, tell us, how Welcome to the Dark got started and now how it's, what it's turned into now in clothing line too.
Blake Ahern was the one that kind of talked to us about it a little bit, which is Ja's position coach and assistant coach with the Grizzlies. But once we started, we all like, let's get in the dark, and during that time, the dark is not just athletics. The dark is where you really find yourself. Face the critics, you face the doubters, you arguing with yourself. You got the good devil and the bad devil over here. You just don't know where to go. In this, it can be in any walk of life. You can be a nurse. You can be starting a podcast. People don't know how hard it went for you to start this podcast. You had to do all this work in the dark for people to finally see this podcast and for your numbers to finally grow up, right? So you got to take nurses, for instance. People don't know how hard it is for them to be a nurse, for them to work extremely hard, taking these tests, taking all these next, just doing everything and becoming a nurse. In terms of athletics, like you work, how many miles you run, how many push-ups you do, how many weights you lift. Sacrifice, instead of eating burgers, I'm eating this grilled salmon, eating broccoli instead of eating French fries. That's in the dark. To be successful in the light. So myself, JT started, we just wanted to take that message worldwide. And getting endorsements from certain athletes that we have. We've been able to do so because everybody goes through the dark, whether they know it or not. Everybody in whatever walk of life that you're doing, and if you're successful, you've been through the dark. You know what the dark is. So for us, we just embrace it. We embrace not having the lights on us. We embrace not cameras. We embrace not having the media. We embrace not people not knowing who we are. And, when the lights come on, here we are. And well, we worked in the dark. So the D is for discipline. It's self-explanatory. Gotta be discipline. Here it is. I got it on. The A is for attention to detail. Another self-explanatory, right? Smaller things matter. The R is for routine. You just got to have a routine, stick to it, no matter what it is. Keep going, stick to that routine. And the K is just having a killer mentality. Just mentally, mama mentality, just had it all. I'm gonna figure this stuff out. However it go, however how tough it may be, I'm gonna figure it out. So that's what welcome to the dark means. And it means the world to us.
Back in 2019, you said, quote, 15 years ago, I was a kid at this camp. 9 years ago, I was sitting in the gym as a student. 4 years ago, I was sitting in this gym as a teacher. Now giving advice to over 500 kids in the same gym. And next year, my 10-year high school reunion. Hard work pays off. Talk soon. Thanks to my big brother, Thad Young, for the opportunity to speak, unquote. This past May, you also had the chance to go back to Mitchell again and give out $3,000 in scholarships. We've talked about it earlier. You've come all the way full circle. What's that felt like to you?
Come true. Because even if we didn't even want the media to know about it. But, principal, and he just felt like it was something they needed to know. So it wasn't just myself, my best friend, Valencia Jennings, Trey Ford, CEO of Base Highs, John Walton, Robert Kent, Rodriguez Scruggs. Like, we all graduated from there during the class of 2010, 2011. So we all figured out the way to put, obviously I'm the name that people put out there, but it wasn't just me. I've had some very good friends that come through. And it just felt good, bro. It just like to go back. I don't even, the media put it out there, but just to do it and to see the smile on those kids' faces, but to actually know what they're going through and know the challenge they face of, not being able to go to college because of finances. And we couldn't help everybody, but those 3 that we did help, they're still there. They're very successful. And and for me and for us, I speak for all of us, that's what matters. That's what matters to us. We care about the dollar amount, because money comes and goes, but those relationships that you build, in that $3,000 are everlasting.
Your grandfather, Leonard Sr. and former Tiger player and coach Larry Finch were best friends. He actually was one of the people that convinced Larry to stay at home and play at what was then Memphis State. And, Larry led that team to the 1973 NCAA championship game. They ended up losing, to Bill Walton in UCLA, and it was tied at halftime. And then the second half, Walton went 21 of 22 that game, that no one was going to beat them. You said that as a child, your grandfather said to you, quote, "Words are easily spoken. Let your deeds do the talking," unquote. It sounds like that he set a great example for both you, your sister Erika, and your dad.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the Godfather of Memphis. Ain't nobody that don't know him. Like you said, I can say what I want, but if I'm not gonna put no action behind it, it don't matter. So, yeah, I know for him, he's proud to see his fruits of his labor spread out into the world, and take what we doing, globally. So, yeah, that's my guy. No, he happy.
Yeah, I think I told you my really good friend I've known for about 30 years, Otis Jackson, used to talk about, your grandfather all the time and what an influence he had on his life back when he was playing at Memphis State.
And he's impacted not just Otis,
right?
Probably millions.
Speaking of your sister Erika, she said, quote, "Breaking news. I was promoted to executive producer of the morning show at my station a few days ago, and I'm honestly still speechless," unquote. She also said, quote, "The overwhelming love and support from my family, friends, and coworkers has carried me every step of the way since I stepped into this business 7 years ago. I'm elated to further my career with NBCU and stay in Miami as the new chapter opens," unquote. You must be really proud of her.
She's a badass. She's a badass. My mom gonna get me for cursing on here, but that's the best way to explain it. For her to be that young, she's 28, African American. an African American woman and producer in Miami on a national scale.
Right.
That don't happen, man. That don't happen. But she works. She's very detailed. She works her tail off, and she's a good person. So those are all qualities to be successful. And I'm super proud of her. I can't wait to go back down there and see her. But to just see that she's successful in her field and to know her story, like I said, she might not get the notoriety or get the publicity that I get, but she knows her brother's proud of her. And, I'm going to talk about it every chance that I get. So for her to be a producer in her field and doing what she wants to do and making a living for herself at the age of 28 in a city like Miami, the most expensive city in the world.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, not the world, United States for sure.
Right.
The city in the United States. So to see her being successful there and doing it her way, I'm super proud of her.
And she started here, didn't she? In media in Memphis?
Here as an intern. Then she went to Waco, left Waco, then came back to Memphis, and then from Memphis to Miami. So her rise has been quick, but she deserves everything that she get. And, I let her know also, like, you just getting started. Like, it's cool, but I'm not done. Like, you got a long way to go. You got millions of more people to impact and to get the news out there. Everybody watch the news.
Right.
It's on a station like BBC. It's out there.
Your parents, Wanda and Leonard Jr., celebrated their 33rd anniversary this past April 15th. And you've shared that your dad has always been your hero and the biggest supporter, and taught you at an early age that, quote, rough times build character and adversity reveal the true character of a man, unquote. On your mom's birthday a few years ago, you said, quote, thank God for another year. Happy birthday, First Lady. I love you, unquote. They've undoubtedly, from what we talked about today, had, given you unconditional love, Trey, your entire life. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Without them, there ain't no me. It ain't, or Erika. And just know, like, they sacrificed everything for us, like everything. And just to know that they did that for us, and people don't really, they're not as blessed as we are to have two parents and live in a two-parent household that had unconditional love for 33 years and still counting. So I'm grateful to have my parents still here, still healthy, man, still able to support me, still able to support my sister, my little cousins. Like, it's just a blessing, and without me, it ain't no them. I mean, without them, there's no me. Like, it's love, and I don't take it for granted. I don't take it for granted, but I love them to death, and they know that. They know that.
What are the most important lessons that you've learned in life?
Be a good person. Work extremely hard, and just treat people right. That's something that they taught me. That stuff is gonna take care of itself. I think those are, because you can't do it alone. That's why I'm so thankful and grateful, because I know how many people have helped me along my journey. Some people that I haven't even named. If I start to name, like, leave out somebody.
Right.
And, I think for me, it's just leaving a legacy. Like, you'll see the trainers, and you'll see, I may be doing certain stuff in the community, but when all that's said and done, what's the legacy that I'm gonna live when I'm not around basketball anymore? People, they look back and they might forget what you said, but they won't forget how you made them feel. And 30 years from now, when people talk about myself or talk about, what I've done, throughout the sports world, I just want them to talk about how I made them feel, how I changed their life. I think that's more than enough for me. Like, I've already accomplished basketball. If I didn't do anything else with basketball today, I've accomplished enough to be remembered in the sports world. But it's bigger than that. It's bigger than that for me.
How can people follow you on social media, and how can they, find Welcome to the Dark merch too?
So you can follow me on Instagram at Trey Draper 3. It's the same on Twitter. On Facebook, my name is Trey Draper. So it's Trey space, last name Draper, Draper. Like I said, that same Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat. I don't have all the other stuff. But welcome to the Dark merch. Go to the44court.com. Click Welcome to the Dark. You can see some merch. Go support us, support the brand, support the movement. We'll see what happens.
We talk about this, that power of a moment. I talk about this a lot. When you didn't get that job at Fairleigh, and 2 weeks later, that was a blessing. God was watching over you.
2 weeks. It was literally 2 weeks later. That's how.
Right.
That's why now I don't even stress nothing. I'd be like, it is what it is.
Right. And think about
it is what it is.
Everything that's happened since that point. IMG, the people you met, the relationships, everything. Welcome to the Dark. None of that happens unless you don't get that job at Fairleigh. And it all goes back to that one moment when they gave you the job and took it back. And just like you said, thank you so much for that.
Appreciate that.
Yours is a story of perseverance, determination, never, ever giving up. And every single time that you've gotten knocked down, you get back up. And not only that doors have opened for you, but you've knocked those doors down. You're only 30 years old, and this is just the beginning of what I know is going to be a very successful career, and more importantly, life. You're making a difference, and that means everything. I really appreciate you coming on and giving me your time today, Trey.
Man, I appreciate you. Got my number, man. Anything I can do to appreciate the interview. Like I said, I appreciate the time. And yeah, definitely, like you said, shout out to Fairleigh. Like I said, I never talked about that school publicly, but you got it. You got it out of me, so there it is.
I'd love to have you on again down the road. I appreciate it, Terry.
All right, they appreciate you.
Thank you.